conscious mind out, trying to lure it. So, without further ado, here are 3 top tips for unlocking your creativity. Number 1. Set some arbitrary constraints. If you're just given a blank canvas and told, draw anything, it's difficult to come up with something. But if you're told, draw me a new landscape, draw me a new face, draw me a new animal, it suddenly becomes a lot easier. You don't have to use those constraints in your final piece, but just play around with them and see what happens. Again, as an actor, sometimes in rehearsal, I will play the scene with the complete opposite emotion from the one I think I should be using in the final show, just to explore the different ideas and dynamics that come up. Leonardo da Vinci used this technique when he was painting, writing, "Cast your glance on any walls dirty with such stains, or walls made up of rock formations of different types." If you have to invent some new scenes, you will be able to discover them there in diverse forms, in diverse landscapes, adorned with mountains, rivers, rocks, trees, extensive plains, valleys and hills. These are like the sound of bells, in whose tolling you hear names and words that your imagination conjures up. If you're doing creative writing, a good way of doing this is using metaphor. Say that X is Y, Juliet is the sun, love is a flame, all the world's a stage. Again, you don't have to use those metaphors in your final piece, but just see what happens when you try and write with those constraints. Number 2. Identify the common rules and assumptions of whatever domain you're working in, and see whether they can be broken. A lot of conceptual art comes from challenging common ideas about what a work of art can be. Some of my favourite stand-up comedians, people like Stuart Lee, Pierre Novelli, Amir Khosrowshahi, are so creative precisely because they've dared to ask, why can't stand-up comedy be informed by German theatre traditions? Why can't it be an emotionally affecting work of art in its own right? Why can't it be quiet and meek instead of loud and confident? This brings up the important point that if you're trying to be creative in some field, it helps to know as much as you can about that field first. You've got to know what the rules are before you can choose whether or not to break them. Like one of the pieces of advice that established writers always give new ones is to read as widely as possible. The Beatles got thousands and thousands of hours of practice playing other people's songs before they started writing their own, and even Mozart started out interpreting other people's works. There's no shame in it. Number 3. Take a big idea and apply it to something very small. Like, what does the societal construction of disability say about the relationship between the characters in your play? How does the history of British imperialism since Shakespeare's time impact the relationship between Caliban and Prospero in The Tempest? It just broadens the pool of ideas that you can draw on and gives you new material to work with. This is also a great tactic if you're looking for a topic for your essay or your dissertation. Remember that artistic creativity isn't the only kind. Take a big theory and apply it to something tiny. Like, what does Saul Kripke's philosophical theory of names tell us about Twitter reply threads? What do neo-colonialist narratives in the media say about the way people play No Man's Sky? What does John Rawls's Veil of Ignorance tell us about people's behaviour on RPG character creation screens? Oh wow, I think I've just discovered a formula that generates episodes of PBS Idea Channel. By now, you're almost ready to get out there and start creating. You've learned what creativity is, and you've got 3 top tips to help unlock yours. But there's one more thing you might need to think about. Have you ever noticed that a lot of creative people tend to be sad? Even depressed sometimes? Why is that? And is there anything you can do to avoid it? Well, creativity and sadness will be the 3rd and final part in this series. Patreon.com/philosophytube is where the fans of this show help crowdfund it. Sadly, all these academic resources and texts I've been citing are not free, and neither is food. So if you could chuck a couple of bucks my way to help keep me alive and keep me giving away free education on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.